Okay, hello everyone. We are also streaming live on Facebook. So if you are watching this on Facebook, you can still join the Zoom. If you click on the registration link, Zoom will automatically send an email with the call link and you can join from there. But just in case it's easier for you to go on Facebook Live, then we are there as well. All right, just making sure everything is muted. Hold on, everyone. Okay. There we go. All right. And then for the people who are already here in our Zoom, again, you can start answering the Mentimeter. The Mentimeter link is the one that you're seeing on your slide. For the people on Facebook, please go answer that as well. We are going to use that later as we look at our answers. All right. So getting our live stream set up. Hello, everyone. Good morning. To those who just called in, maybe put a good morning in the chat and then let me know, where are you calling from? I'm in Quezon City, and this morning the rain was just very, very strong. I thought I was going to lose internet, but good thing it's kind of sunny now. Where are you all from? Okay, good morning, good morning. Where are you calling from? I hope the typhoon isn't so bad in your area. Okay, Puerto Princesa, Makati, Valenzuela, Antipolo. Great. I see someone who's from QC as well. Oh, lots of people from QC. Hello, neighbors. Although QC is very big. All right. There we go. All right, Angeles, Pampanga, Antipolo, Parañaque. Great. And then for people who are on Facebook Live, just letting you know, we still have space here on Zoom. So feel free to join on Zoom if you'd like. You can just click on the registration link and then Zoom will automatically send an email with the call link. Okay, good. Nice to see everyone. And some smiling faces, lalo na maulan. So we'll have to bring the energy, right? All right. It's 9:58. Let's get started at exactly 10 o'clock. But everyone, you still have time. So if you need coffee or tea or snacks, go for it. Pwede kumain while we're doing our webinar. So go do your bio break, your restroom break, and then come back here and feel free to have coffee and snacks while we do our learning session. All right, Davao City, hello. From sunny CDO. Okay, good to hear that you're having good weather over there. Jensen. All right. Hello, hello. It's always nice to see the different places people are from. And I see a lot of new names this month. Ayan, baka may marami siguro na hindi pa nakapag-webinar with us before. So I'm really excited about that. I'm seeing a lot of very new names. I'm excited to meet all of you. Okay, I see more people are calling in. It's almost 10 o'clock. And that's okay. They're just right on time. Rosario Cavite, Pasay, Cubao. Hello, neighbor. I'm from Quezon City as well. I'm in Teachers Village near UP Diliman. Great. All right, and everyone, for the recording, I see some people are requesting to record. I'm going to be recording it, and we are streaming on Facebook Live. So I will not allow any of the requests to record on your own, but I will be recording it, and it will be on our page. So don't worry about that. Hello from Cebu City. Madaming greetings. Hello, hello. Okay. I see some names that are familiar. So it's nice to see people who are returning here. And I was going to say all of your names, but that's a lot. So hello, it's nice to see you all. Again, I know it's been a while since we've had our free webinar. We kind of had to do a little bit of a pause, but now is a good time to start, right? Okay, 10:01. Let's go ahead and get started, everyone. The others will just call in and trickle in as we go. Right now, what you're seeing in front of you is a Mentimeter link. I'm pasting that in the chat, so pwede nyo na yan sagutan while we're starting out our webinar. And with that, welcome everyone. This is our HR Spotlight. It's part of the series where we focus on different HR functions and programs. For this month, we are focusing on designing an onboarding program. So please, I'll just ask everyone to mute your mics for a great learning experience for everyone. So just to cover some ground rules, first, let's commit to being here. Try to focus as much as you can. I know that you may have work, everyone's really busy, but the main intent of these free webinars is for learning. So I do hope that you can give your focus and attention as we learn about designing onboarding programs. Next, I listen to understand. There might be concepts that are new to you, so please just listen, take what you can, and then of course you can revisit our recording later on if there are things that you want to repeat. If you want me to clarify anything though, wag mahiya, please just let me know in the chat. I can repeat that for you. I can clarify and help answer your questions. And of course, our last ground rule is I engage to learn. I have questions for you later, and I hope this can be as participative as possible. I'd love to get to know all of you as well. I'm sure that you have experiences and knowledge that you can share with everyone here in the room. I love these free webinars because we get such a diverse group of people. And pag nagko-comment kayo, nababasa yan ng isa't isa, natututo tayo sa isa't isa. So please do keep that chat box going, and I would love to also learn from you in our session today. Boundaries is such a big topic in our country these days, right? So just to clarify some of the things that we'll be doing and we'll be implementing for this round, as inspired by that incident with Lea Salonga that I'm sure you've seen from the news. So again, everyone, the intent of a free webinar is for sharing of learning. We do give free certificates, but that's really just a bonus to recognize your presence and because we love having you here. So please just understand that. And then the instructions for the certificates, we will be giving all of that later on at the end of the webinar. So please be patient about that. The form for requesting certificates, we will close it 2 hours after the session. E-certificates are not sent on the same day. So again, please, we do not automatically send certificates and it will not be sent today, even if you fill out the form today. We send these within 1 week of the webinar. And then last, please do understand that we will not entertain special requests like early sending of certificates or further customizations. We are a small team. Most of what we do is really engagements with our private clients, but we love sharing the knowledge and the best practices that we've learned through the years. That's why we do the free webinars. So everyone, I hope you do understand. We had to take a little bit of a step back the past few months because it got kind of hard trying to deal with all of the messages that we were getting about certificates and whatnot. So please, we just want to reiterate today the purpose and the intent of these free webinars. And doing that, now that that's done, officially welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening in case you're not in the Philippines. Welcome to HR Spotlight. This month, we are talking about designing an onboarding program. As we all know, graduation season is upon us. If you're graduating this year, round of applause for you. Maybe you can let us know in the chat and we can send good vibes along your way. Congratulations for finishing your college years. So graduation season is upon us, and for HR people, for managers, for organizations, we know that that means in a few weeks or months, dadami yung new hires natin. Hiring season na naman, and usually these are the months when we have to onboard a lot of people. It doesn't have to be just fresh grads. This kind of webinar will also be applicable for even people who are more senior leaders who are onboarding. So please just think about that. Think about why you're here and what you will use the knowledge from today for how you can apply it in your own jobs. We think about onboarding because we want to create the kind of working environment where people will thrive. The kind of working environment where people will be proud of the work that they do and the company that they are part of. For those who are new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Elizha Corpus. You can call me Elizha. No need for ma'am or coach or whatever. Just Elizha is okay. My firm is called Elizha Corpus Consulting. It's not the most creative name, but let's roll with it. We specialize in culture transformation, leadership development, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. I have clients who are local here to the Philippines and also international clients. We go from very small firms to nonprofits to very big multinationals. And that's intentional because I love learning about the different cultures of these organizations. I did my master's in human resources and labor relations at Michigan State University. What you see here is a picture of me with my batchmates from my master's class. And I love talking about this because a lot of the theories, frameworks, models that I share in the free webinars, I got them from the theoretical foundations of my master's. So very much appreciative of the lessons I got there. And I love sharing that with all of you here. After my master's, I worked with Microsoft. I moved to Seattle, Washington, and I was part of Microsoft's Global Learning and Development team. I was very lucky because at that time, culture transformation was the biggest thing that Microsoft was going after. Being in global learning and development, I did work that was directly related to that culture transformation. I was designing, implementing, strategizing learning programs for 150,000 people around the world as part of that global audience. What's so special about the things I did there is I was directly related to onboarding. I started from being a new hire. This is a picture that I took on my first day, and this was my new employee orientation. What's funny is during my new employee orientation, I was talking to someone and then I told them about what team I'm joining, etc., etc. I said, I actually don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure yet what my projects will be. And then this person said, hey, maybe in a few months, you'll be planning this event. You'll be planning the orientation. Then I said, oh no, I'm sure they won't give something like that to me. That's too hard and too big. But a few months later, guess what? I was planning the new employee orientation that happened every single Monday in headquarters. And I was also doing the learning and development parts of global onboarding. So I was looking at what are the experiences that have to be common, that all Microsoft employees, no matter where you are in the world, what are those things, resources that you need to get? I was planning that, and I was in the core team for onboarding. That's something I'd love to share with you today because I learned so much from being part of that core team implementing onboarding initiatives globally. But why do I do this, right? Why talk about onboarding? It's because of this picture. One day, one Monday, as I was walking to the restroom, when you walk to the restroom of the second floor where our offices are, you can actually see a view of the Microsoft logo outside of the building. So one Monday afternoon, as I was walking, I saw this. I think this is a new hire person hugging the sign and nagpapa-picture siya. So this person was taking their picture while hugging the sign. I want to talk about onboarding today because this is the kind of feeling that I hope all new hires get. I hope that all new hires finish their onboarding feeling like they love being in the company they're in. They're excited to be in the company they're in. They want to contribute to that company. Beyond wanting to contribute, if you're proud of where you work, that actually gives you confidence in yourself. It gives you confidence that you made the right choices in life and that you're okay, you're doing well. So that's the feeling I hope all new hires get whenever I do onboarding programs. I hope that with the little bit of time we have today to discuss onboarding, you can also implement strategies para yung new hires mo din, ganito yung maramdaman nila pagkatapos ng onboarding program mo. So with that, everyone, what are we going to talk about today? Let's just quickly go over our objectives. In this webinar, we will, number one, define the onboarding experience. Number two, let's discuss the relevance of the various aspects of the onboarding experience. And of course, number three, we have to identify some critical actions that you can add to your own onboarding programs. Maybe for some or most of you, you already have an onboarding program that you're working on. So let's talk about what are some things you can add to enhance those programs. Everyone, are you ready to start? Give me a quick thumbs up if you're ready to start digging into our workshop today. Let's see here. All right, perfect. Oh, I love the people on video. It's nice to see your thumbs up. Okay. And with that, the first question for you is, for those who have been in their current company for more than 1 year, so for those who have been working already, what do you remember the most from your onboarding experience? Maybe give me one word, one phrase. What do you remember the most? Okay. For the people on Facebook, you can answer as well. I'm looking at your comments. Don't worry. All right, icebreaker questions, games, and food. Oh, unboxing the welcome kit is my favorite too. Jenny, thank you so much. Fear is such a big part of it. And I can tell you, it doesn't matter the level of that person, even the highest executives, if they are new hires, they always say that they're still nervous and they experience fear. So very, very real. Information overload, still very real as well. Free coffee, I'd have to agree. My favorite part of Microsoft onboarding was the coffee cart, and they had really, really good like macchiatos and espressos. As in our food, that's very specific. Culture, introduction, values. All right, thank you all so much. Lots and lots of answers right there. Think about that. Onboarding, these are very salient moments for people. That's because the onboarding experience it actually gives new hires a preview of their future relationship with the organization. If na-enjoy mo yung onboarding mo, lalo na yung orientation, it gives you a signal that maybe this is something you can enjoy moving forward into the future. I like to think about it as recruitment stage will be kind of like your first impressions, trying to get the feel of who is this organization? Do I like them enough or not? And then onboarding is when you've decided that I'm going to try it with this organization. Now let's see if I made the right choice. And so that's why it's so important to think about those details, those moments of onboarding, because that's what people will remember. And you want them to leave onboarding with those kinds of good impressions that will help with the future relationship they have with the organization. The reality, though, is the things that a lot of the good things that you're saying in the chat, it doesn't happen to a lot of people, right? Ineffective onboarding is actually quite rampant in the corporate world, especially. According to Gallup, in their 2019 study of onboarding experiences, only 12% of employees worldwide strongly agree that their organization does a great job at onboarding. 12% is not a very big number. That's not even close to half. So what are we doing, right? It makes you think, what's going on with onboarding worldwide? Another firm, so OC Tanner is like a market research firm. They do a lot of analytics and data gathering, insights gathering. They actually had 36,000 respondents across 202 different countries, and the Philippines was part of their data gathering pool. What they found was only 43% of employees had an experience beyond a one-day orientation and a brochure on benefits. It seems like a lot of people around the world did not really get a lot of support and guidance beyond just the very basic things like onboarding, orientation, or a basic pamphlet or brochure. If we continue being ineffective in onboarding, we already know what that will look like. We can see that employee turnover can be as much as 50% in the first 4 months for hourly workers. And then for those more senior who are outside hires, that turnover rate could also be 50% in the first 18 months. We all know, especially if you're in HR, that turnover can be very costly. There are some estimates that turnover cost could be as much as 100 to 300% of the replaced employee's salary. So what this tells us is, if we are ineffective in onboarding, those new hires will most likely leave within 18 months, sometimes even less than a year. If they leave in that short of a time, they're not yet contributing to the company, and you're actually losing more than you're gaining. So overall, if onboarding is ineffective, it has negative effects on the organization. Now, on the flip side, if we make onboarding effective, what are the positive benefits there? We can see that 29% of new hires who had a robust onboarding program, they say that they feel fully prepared to excel in their roles. Again, this is from that same Gallup research that I mentioned earlier. What this tells us is, if we have an onboarding program that goes just beyond a brochure or an orientation, then people feel like they are supported to really perform and continue performing in their new roles. The research tells us that it goes beyond feeling. According to SHRM, or the Society for Human Resource Management, 62% of new hires in companies with onboarding programs had higher time to productivity ratio. time to productivity ratio is basically just the time that new hires need to start contributing to their organization. So that's all it is. Ang sabi ng SHRM, 62% of new hires na may onboarding program, mas mabilis silang nakaka-contribute, mas mabilis silang nagiging productive. So hindi lang nila nararamdaman na productive sila, talagang nakita sa data ng SHRM na mas mabilis nagiging productive yung mga new hires with onboarding programs. Beyond just productivity, we can see that employees with an exceptional onboarding experience are 2.6 times more likely to be satisfied with their new organization. When employees are satisfied, they are more engaged, organizational commitment is higher, they identify more with the organization, and of course, they're more likely to stay and actively contribute to strengthening the culture of the organization. That's why all of this matters. This matters because a good onboarding experience can lead to people being satisfied, productive, and really contributing members of the organization. Again, the onboarding experience gives both employer and employee a chance to affirm their decision to work together. That onboarding process, that's also for you as the employer. That's also for you as the organization. This is your chance to say that, you know what, I've made the right choice and I will take care of that person that I brought into my company. I will do my best so they can see as well that they made the right choice. Onboarding is kind of like that phase in a relationship when you're together, but you're still kind of learning more about each other. Sometimes, diba, para fun, think about dating. Once you're together already, you confirm that you're boyfriend, girlfriend, or that you're in a romantic partnership. Diba? There's a period that people say you're in your honeymoon phase. Everything is happy, everything is great. Maybe that's your onboarding orientation. It's like a 1 day or 1 week celebration. And then after that, you have a period of still getting to know each other, trying to decide if I made the right choice with this person. That's onboarding. You're deciding if you made the right choice with this company and with this person. And so as the employer, you have the higher responsibility to actually create the environment so that people will feel like they made the right choice with you. All right? That is why we are discussing all of this. Now that we know why onboarding experience is important, let's talk about what is onboarding. I won't ask you to unmute, but I hope you all read along with me. Let's read the long definition of onboarding according to SHRM, okay? Onboarding is the process of integrating a new employee with a company and its culture, as well as getting a new hire the tools and information needed to become a productive member of the team. Now, let me know in the chat, what are the words or phrases that stand out for you in the definition? Ano yung words or phrases na nakita mo and parang na-fixate ka doon or it struck you? All right, let's see here. A lot of people are saying productive culture. Become a productive member, integrating. I wonder if we can call some people. It might be nice to hear your voices. No need to turn on your camera if you're shy, okay? But I'd love to hear some of your voices. Johnville, you said integrating. Bakit integrating yung interesting for you or nag-stand out for you na word? Are you able to unmute? We'd love to hear your voice. Johnville? Let's see, let's give Johnville a few more seconds. Then if not, Sige, what about Genevieve? Genevieve, you also said integrating. I'm curious, bakit integrating yung nag-stand out for you?
Hi, good morning.
Hello!
I think it stood out for me kasi we all know that onboarding is really a very important process, you know, when it comes to new hires, because it is their parang first first introduction to the company, no, and it is important for them to feel welcomed, to feel na this is the right company for them. So I think the phrase, the process of integrating a new employee, that's what stood out for me, because that's what's the purpose of onboarding.
Yeah,
Not
I
just any other orientation like bombarding employees with
Mhm.
information, but really integrating them to the culture, to the company, and to other employees as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Genevieve. I love that you said it's beyond, like, it's not just any other orientation, right? There's a lot of integration and alignment going on. John Bill, I see your hand raised. Maybe we can hear from you now.
Good morning po. Sorry, my audio is not working a
Oh, no
while ago.
worries.
So integrating, it struck me because basically we are individually different, coming from different races, different culture. And so we will try our best to integrate ourselves to the culture of the company, to the nature of the company, in order for us to use our strengths and then harness and improve our weaknesses po in order for us to contribute and be productive with the company. Kaya integrating po siya. Thank you po.
Exactly. Yeah, it's recognizing that each person will have their own strengths, areas of development, and they're using your company, your organization, as a platform for developing that and strengthening their strengths. So thank you so much for that. And then I also like what Janet said in the chat. So integrating, because we can assume that each employee has his own set of values and experiences. Therefore, there is need to align to company values. And I think a lot of you are saying alignment as well. So I love that we have this recognition that people are unique. They have their own values. Organizations are unique as well. They have their own values and culture. And so now it's not about changing the person, right? It's about looking at what are the areas of alignment where we can see what's consistent, we can talk about what's not, and really find a way to form this relationship together. So thank you so much, for all of you for giving your answers there. Now, we just want to make sure that we're very clear. If you look at this definition, there's no part there that says orientation, right? So one of the misconceptions for some people is that the onboarding is the orientation, but it's not the same. The orientation is just a part of the puzzle. It's just a part of the onboarding experience. So when we think about onboarding, especially in the field of HR, it goes beyond just that one day of orientation. There's this book called The First 90 Days by, I think it's Michael Watkins, if I'm not mistaken about the first name of this author. The First 90 Days is one of those classic books that a lot of leaders recommend, especially if you are onboarding to a new company. One of the theories that Watkins starts with is the break-even point. So according to Watkins, the break-even point is the point at which the new employee has contributed as much value to the new organization as they have consumed it. Let's explain the visual a little bit, okay? So this visual says that in the first 3 months, the value consumed by the new hire is probably more than the value they contribute. So from the organization's perspective, mas wala ka pang nakukuhang return on investment. Okay? That's all it says. And then after around 6.2 months, that's when the person, the new hire, will start creating value. So it's your break-even point. Kasi babawiin na niya yung value na kinonsume niya. Does that make sense? So this research was done by Watkins. He interviewed 210 CEOs from different companies. They asked them, what do you think, best estimate, what do you think is the time that it takes for a person to reach the break-even point? So yung tanong niya is, sa estimate mo, gaano katagal bago mag-break-even yung investment mo na nabawi mo na yung investment mo dun sa new hire? Their answer is 6 months. Now, everyone, what happens in the 6-month time period, especially here in the Philippines, right? What's usually the sixth month time period? Exactly. Diba? That's why it makes sense that regularization happens at that time period, because the company already assumes they had that break-even point. At least nakabawi na sila dun sa ininvest nila sa'yo. Now, the thing is, for a full and holistic onboarding experience, we don't want to stop at break-even. We want people to actually be fully productive. We want them to really be able to show their potential and their full contribution to the organization. Again, we don't want to just stop at break-even. We want to really become a place where that person can realize their full potential and contribute their full potential. According to Gallup, a new employee typically takes around 12 months to reach the full performance potential within a role. Again, the difference is break-even is just nabawi mo yung initial investment. But what we want is full performance potential. And according to Gallup, that usually takes around 1 year or 12 months. That's why I hope that you can think about onboarding experience in this way. If you have the opportunity to influence your organizations, try to think of how you can support new hires for that whole 12-month onboarding period. How can you support them so that you are able to help them get to full performance potential? I see a question in the chat. Let's go back to the previous slide so we can explain it. Thank you so much for asking for clarifications. Okay, so the question in the chat is, please explain value consumed. Okay, so according to this visual of Watkins in the book, The First 90 Days, in the first 3 months on average of a new hire, they consume more value than they contribute. So, ibig sabihin, mas madami silang nakukuhang benefit from the company than naibibigay. Let me know, give me a thumbs up, person Yana, if that helps clarify. Then we'll move on to the next slide. All right, perfect. So everyone, please don't be shy. Just ask in the chat and we will clarify. If you have a question in your head, most likely may iba din na may tanong. All right. So again, we just finished talking about how we want to go beyond just regularization and break even. We want full performance potential. And a lot of research will tell us that it realistically happens only at the 1 year or 12-month mark. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the goal is to create an onboarding experience that supports new hires to full performance and an experience that engages them to be active contributors to the organizational culture. This is why we want a robust onboarding experience. This is why, as HR professionals, we want to enhance our onboarding programs. All right. Okay. Yeah, and good thoughts on that, diba? Is value consumed what onboarding designers must ensure so that treasure doesn't become trash. So I think, yes, in a way, that's kind of true, right? You want to make sure that the treasure you saw in that person when you hired them really becomes something that will contribute to the organization. At the end of the day, right, we hire people for a reason, and that means we need to see that reason coming to life. Okay, so the question, Emiko, ask me later at the end, okay? So let's move on first, but if I forget, make sure to remind me later, okay? Now that we know why onboarding is important and what onboarding experience is, I'm sure you're thinking, how, right? How do we create an effective onboarding experience? We have a framework that we will go through in our session today. So first, lay the groundwork. What are the prerequisites or the essentials that you need to set up before you can actually start planning for that onboarding experience? Number 2, agree on what is core and common. Ano ba yung mga bagay na dapat lahat ng new hires in the organization, regardless of level, role, field, etc., all of them will have that experience. That's what we mean by core and common. Number 3, necessitate manager and team involvement. And number 4, drive continuous development and engagement. We are going to go through all of these one by one. And let's jump right into it with the first part, which is to lay the groundwork. What we mean by this is to look at what are the prerequisites for onboarding programs. These are the things you have to prepare and set up so that your implementation of your onboarding program will be as smooth as possible. Number 1, you need support from top leadership. The realistic way to think about this is someone from the topmost levels of your company will have to understand the importance of new hires. You need to secure someone who will sponsor the new hire related initiatives that your company will have. If you think about the visual earlier, right? Value consumed in the first 3 months is negative, which means the company doesn't get any benefits just yet on average. Sometimes, because of that, it's hard to get leaders to give budget and resources, time and energy to new hire-related initiatives. And that's valid, right? They don't see the return yet. That's why they don't want to give more to those initiatives. But as we can see, it takes a lot of support to get new hires to full performance potential. And so what we want is to make sure that leaders understand that. And you have someone from the highest level who will be able to push for these initiatives with their co-leaders, the other high-level leaders in the company. They will help create energy around the importance of new hires to the organization. What I noticed is, after working with a lot of higher-level leaders, if you actually explain to them your initiatives and why they are important, a lot of them are excited about new hires. New hires can bring new energy, new blood, right? New ideas to the company. And so giving leaders an opportunity to interact with that excitement can also help them find more motivation for their own roles and their own projects. When I was in Microsoft, I was in charge of prepping and getting leaders who will talk during the new employee orientation. So one of my favorite things that I do is I wait for them outside the door after they give their talk, because they just have the biggest smiles on their faces and they sound really excited, just getting that fresh burst of energy. So think about that. How can you show leaders that this is an exciting thing for them to do? As an extra tip for my HR professionals out here, data is key. If you are convincing your leader that this is important, you have to be able to show them numbers. This is not everything that will be helpful, but just to give you a like a quick overview, try to show data on turnover and associated costs. Look at how much does it take to replace a person, right? How much of the work in a day is not done if that role is empty, kung walang tao na gumagawa. So you can compute for these things. Ask your compensation and the benefits person if you need more help. They will usually know the data that you will use to compute for that. Look at time to hire. Ask your recruitment people, how long does it take to fill a spot? You can usually compute for that. You can look at gaano kamahal ba mag-advertise sa isang job search website per day. Then multiply that by the number of days it takes on average to get someone to apply. So try to see these kinds of data so you can put money and say like peso amounts so you can show that data to your leaders. You can also look at the benefits of effective onboarding programs from the research. I gave you some of those statistics earlier. There's a lot more, and we cannot cover them all today, but it's easy to find online. You can also look at benchmark data from your industry. Use forums like this and other conferences, other workshops to get to know more people in your industry. The more people you know, the more you can ask them, how do you do onboarding in your field? How do you do onboarding in your industry? And then you can compare notes, and then you can tell your leaders that based on my benchmarking from other companies in the same industry with the same size, this is what they're doing. And this is what we need to do to keep up or to be even better than that. All right, so everyone, these 4 bullet points are not the full list of different things you can do, but this is a start if you want to get data to show your leaders. Number 2, you need alignment with organizational culture. What we mean by this is you have to make sure that your organization has clear mission, vision, and values. Some organizations, especially the ones who have done strategic planning maybe in the past 5-ish years, you probably also have a purpose statement that talks about your why. These are the kinds of documentations that you need to be able to tangibly show new hires the culture of your company. To make that culture come to life, you have to collect stories. Collect stories that will demonstrate your values, your mission, and your vision. If you just show your new hires the mission and vision on a slide, it's fine, right? But it doesn't make it memorable. The most memorable way to do it is to attach emotions to it. A lot of the good onboarding practices I've seen over the years, they usually talk about the company's history. Paano nagsimula? Ano yung struggles nung nagsisimula? How did they use the values of the company to get past those struggles, to get to where they are now? That's usually the kind of emotional storytelling that new hires will tend to remember. And of course, you have to be able to provide new hires with examples for how they can demonstrate that culture. You have to be explicit. Sometimes we think it's common sense, but new hires have information overload. They're anxious, maybe they're shy, they're afraid. So many things going on in their heads and their hearts. So the more explicit, the better. Tell them examples of how they can live out that mission, that vision, and those values. For example, if your company has a value of collaboration, don't just tell new hires to collaborate. Tell them how, diba? For example, you can say, new hires, if you want to collaborate, look at the different projects happening across the company. If you're interested in something, maybe you can talk to someone there to shadow and see if you have new ideas. If there are clubs in the company with different hobbies or advocacies, maybe you can join there, and that starts the collaborative efforts you can create. Again, more examples, more explicit, the better for new hires. And then number 3, you need to have a cross-functional onboarding team. Another misconception is that onboarding is only HR's responsibility. It is not. A lot of HR people are involved, yes. So for example, if you're forming your cross-functional onboarding team, you probably would need an HR person from L&D so they can help you think through learning resources to support that new hire. You need someone from recruitment because before they get to onboarding, they're dealing with recruitment. You need probably someone from employee engagement or employee experience because they would already know what activities are ongoing and you can integrate and align with that. You need someone from compensation and benefits. They will be able to tell you how the company is taking care of the employee at the very basic foundational level. And then, of course, you'll probably need perspective from a generalist or an HR business partner because they are integrated with the business and they'll be able to know the rhythm of the business that will make sense for onboarding. Now, beyond HR, we need someone from operations, okay? Operations because onboarding also needs logistics. You need to understand what are the equipment that the new hire will need. Hardware ba yan? Meron ba silang mga kailangan like cell phones, keyboards, anything else? So these are some of the things that your operations people will be able to help you with. Okay, so everyone just hold on a bit for those requesting to return to item number 2. I'll do that after I go through 3. All right. You also need a person from IT or tech. These are the people who can help you with giving permissions to the system, connections, emails, and whatnot. The more they are in the core team, then they can give you the strategic perspectives. So you can also have a realistic way of involving IT. Next, you need a marketing person or an internal communications person, whatever you have in the company. You need them for consistent messaging. In the onboarding core team that I was in before, I loved working with our marketing and internal communications person. Every Monday, they would be there as well, and they would throw ideas about how to make the messaging better, more interesting, more captivating for the audience. And they just have a perspective that maybe HR people will not have. So it's really up to you to create that multidisciplinary team. And then, of course, your leadership sponsor should be part of that cross-functional team. So they are always updated with what's going on and they can help make decisions. Okay, those are the different roles that you can have in that core team. Again, main point to remember is it's not just HR and it has to be multifunction, multidisciplinary. So you can have diverse perspectives that will help you create an onboarding experience. Let me quickly go back to item number 2, everyone, for those requesting. And don't worry about it if you maybe missed out on a screenshot or taking notes because the recording will be posted. So you can go back to that later. All right. So give it a few more seconds and then we'll move on. We have a very packed 1.5 hour for you today. All right, perfect. So everyone, that was L laying the groundwork. Next, we are going to go into A, agree on what is core and common. Let's revisit our Mentimeter and see what you all put on there, okay? All right, good. Lots of people answered. Thank you so much. It looks like overwhelmingly, most of us got a company orientation, which is not surprising, right? Because a lot of companies think that onboarding is already the orientation. It looks like not a lot, maybe less than half got onboarding buddies and onboarding plans. All right. These items are actually essentials that a lot of the best onboarding programs will have as core and common. So let's talk about what is core and common. Core and common elements of onboarding must be true for all new hires in all roles, levels, and departments. Agreeing on what's core and common, that's actually the first output of your onboarding core team. Once you have that core team in place with different perspectives, you have to be able to agree. Ano ba yung experience that everyone will have? For example, if I'm part of company X, I have to be able to say that any new hire of company X will be able to talk about this kind of onboarding. This is unique to our brand, and this is what we'll have as core and common. There are 3 key dimensions you want to address for onboarding. These are the 3 key dimensions that you have to think about when you are thinking of core and common. Number 1, there's the organizational aspect of onboarding. This means that it's the organization-specific things like culture, mission, vision, values, etc. The question you can ask yourself is, what are the moments that matter when the new hire can further experience the organization's culture? Moments that matter meaning, what are the points in an onboarding experience where you can infuse messaging about who the company is, what matters to the company, and where you want to take that company in the future. Usually, these are moments like your day 1 onboarding. Somewhere in the middle, like the 6-month time period is also a good moment. And then the ending after 1 year is also a great moment that matters for new hires. Again, organizational dimension is all about the company, its history, where it's going, its values, purpose, mission, vision, etc. Number 2 dimension is the technical onboarding. Of course, we cannot miss out on the profession-specific skills that a person will need to apply in that role. So you have to ask yourself, when will the role-specific training take place? Who is responsible for that and who is accountable for that? In my experience with a lot of companies, usually the core onboarding team will set what's core and common. Mostly that's around organizational dimension. Now, that core team will have contacts in different departments or units of the organization. These contacts will take care of the technical aspects of onboarding. What we usually do, though, is we meet at least once a month or at the very least twice a quarter, so that those people doing technical onboarding are still aligned and integrated with the core team. All right? The core team doesn't have to do everything because the technical onboarding aspects will probably be best handled by people who have that expertise. Number 3, the third key dimension is the social dimension. When a new hire joins an organization, a lot of you said earlier you want them to integrate, to feel welcomed. And so this social dimension is about the feeling of belonging. You want to be able to ask a question, how will you create a sense of belonging for new hires? How will you help them make connections and make a friend, even make a best friend? In Gallup's employee engagement survey, it has 12 questions, and one of the questions there is, how much does it apply to you? Rate accordingly from strongly disagree to strongly agree. I have a best friend at work. That's because they found that having a best friend at work is actually a determinant of how engaged you are at work. So very important to think about the social aspects as well. When you are planning for your core and common elements, you have to think about these 3 key dimensions. Again, organizational, technical, and social. Now, let's break down the onboarding essentials according to the different stages of onboarding. What we want to do here is to show you what are the key things. If wala ka ng ibang pwede gawin, ano yung bare minimum that you can do to have a best-in-class onboarding program for your organization? All right? Now, of course, the reality is not a lot of us will be able to do all of these automatically. We cannot implement all of these automatically, but I'm showing them to you as a sort of best practice or a North Star that you could work towards. All right, so let's go ahead and start. A great onboarding experience starts even before the formal onboarding. Once the offer is signed, the recruiter should be keeping that new hire up to date. They have to be able to give them the necessary documents they need, the start date with clear instructions about where to go, what time, what to wear, when they show up, what's going to happen, what's the schedule. That's something that should happen even before they come for the orientation. Next up, before the onboarding, because once people sign, then you already know when they're coming. So you have to begin preparing their essentials to be able to do the work they have to do. This is why having your IT and operations people in your core team will be very important. They have to be able to forecast ilang computers ang kailangan ko next month kasi meron akong 5 new hires. All right? Your IT people will have to know how long does it take for an email to populate in the system. If it takes 1 week, then that IT person will have to do it 1 week before the new hire comes in, right? It's about forecasting and planning ahead. The more you involve them, the more they'll be able to do it. Next up, the manager of that new hire will have to prepare their workspace and inform the team. I know it doesn't sound like it's the biggest deal, but there are new hire anecdotes that will say they get very disappointed if on their first day, they don't have somewhere to sit. Not even a desk, right? Some new hires, they don't have somewhere to sit. And so, do you feel welcome when you don't have a chair? No, right? That's why we have to make sure that we have a space for that person. It doesn't have to be an office or the best space. You just have to show them that you had enough thought to prepare for their arrival. And then another thing the manager has to do is to inform the team about when the new hire is coming. There's nothing worse than showing up to your floor and then people asking, "Sino ka? Who are you?" Right? Like that makes you feel like you're not part of the team. I'll give you a story that I think I will remember forever. So my first day with my team in Microsoft, as I was walking in the hallway, there was this guy that I was that was approaching, right? And then I was just, okay, just ignore because I don't know this person. So I was just smiling politely, but I really didn't know who they were. And then this person goes, "Hello, Elizha. It's so nice to see you here. I'm glad you're here today already, and I'll schedule a meeting with you." And then, of course, I had no idea who that person is, right? So all I could say was, "Oh, do you know my name?" And it turns out that person was the boss of my boss of my boss. And they knew my name. They knew I was coming that day, even though I didn't know who they were. And they were so high up in the organization. So think about that. That made me feel so special and so welcomed. And something that simple could help your new hires. Next up, offer assistance, especially if the employee is relocating, if they are moving from one place to another, or even people who are coming from a unique life experience. For example, I know some companies that if a person is coming from maternity leave, or has been out of the workforce for a long time because they were taking care of their kids. What they do is they offer special assistance, extra sessions, extra resources to help that person who's coming from having babies or taking care of children and coming back to the corporate life. So think about that. What are the special circumstances that people may need extra help and assistance on? Another important thing is, especially for senior leaders who are outside hires, you have to be able to offer them extra assistance so they can integrate faster. What we're discussing today is mostly general onboarding. If we are talking about executive onboarding, there are a whole other list of things that you will need. And it's not because they're special, right? We're not saying that the senior leaders are better than fresh grads. That's not it. It's because with senior leaders, there's a higher expectation for them to be able to contribute faster and to make more impact. And so to help them with that, you want to be able to offer assistance as early as possible. It's also for the benefit of the organization. And then as a quick top tip, try to think about sending a special gift to that person before they come in for their first day. It doesn't have to be an expensive gift. It can just be something simple but meaningful. For example, for me, the new hire gift I got was just like a tumbler that was branded with the company name and some stickers, and then a chocolate. And then a card that said, "This is for your energy boost and your hydration as you finish exams," because that was graduation season. So it can be that simple. If it's hard for you to send mail or gifts, you could also do things online. I've seen companies send like a video message from the CEO talking about the company. And this is just a generic message, but it makes the new hire feel like they are going to be part of something bigger than themselves and something exciting. Think about that. What's a meaningful, simple gift that you can send to your new hires, whether it's a physical gift or a virtual online gift? Oh yeah, someone in the chat said planner. I think planner will be appreciated also by a lot of people. All right. Now, everyone, before we move into the next stage, which is now day one, for fun, let me know in the chat. Para magising tayo this cozy morning. What green flags and red flags do you look for on a first date? Let me know. Ayan. To wake everyone up. Because we're talking about the day one onboarding experience after this slide. So I'd love to know, what is that day one like for you? What green flags and red flags do you look for? Green flag, punctual, all right. Red flag, late. Perfect. Okay, green flag, not looking at price. Ooh, that's extra special. Okay, how they treat servers. Very, very good point there. Green flags, communication back and forth, respectful. Green flag, not boring. Oh, very important. Okay. Red flag, too flashy. Yup, also red flag if they keep on talking about themselves, right? Without asking you about yourself. Okay, so good job, everyone. Thank you for playing along with me. Why do I ask that question for fun? It's because the next part is about the day one experience. Think about day one as the date, right? That's when you're finally getting to see each other and getting a better sense of this relationship that you're going into. As much as possible, it's best to have an orientation on day one. It's best to have that date early on so that you can have the connection and the relationship. Now, if it's not possible on day one, try your best to still have some sort of touch point. I know for some companies, new employee orientation doesn't happen every single Monday. In that case, try to still send the new hire maybe a packet of resources or a welcome message on their day one. And then it's okay if later on that's when they'll have their orientation. Next up, let employees know you're taking care of them. Like what someone said earlier, right? It's a green flag when they pay if they're the ones who invited you. So that's kind of the same thing. During that day one, your company should tell you how they are taking care of you as an investment. They invited you, they accepted you, so they have to pay for you, right? Kinuha ka nila, inaya ka nila, dapat magbayad sila. So they have to be able to show you what are the benefits that you can enjoy as part of that company. As I was planning the day one onboarding when I was in Microsoft, the most important part of the day was actually a talk by a benefits representative. I know it sounds so boring, right? But according to our data that we collect, that's the portion that most new hires appreciate. They like knowing what benefits they can enjoy, especially the ones with families who are worried about medical health insurance that they need for their children. So think about that. It sounds boring, but it's a very important part of starting that relationship. Next up, focus on organizational onboarding. I'm not sure if I saw some of these earlier, but a green flag is if they show you their values, right? If they talk about what's important for them, if it goes beyond just small talk about the weather and you actually understand this person, it's kind of the same thing. You have to, in that day one, show the new hire what's important for you. Who are you as an organization so they can understand kung ano yung pinasok nila. Next up, create opportunities for social onboarding. A lot of you said that it's a green flag if they ask you about yourself as well. Red flag if they just talk about themselves. So we cannot just keep on talking about the company. We have to also have opportunities where that new hire can talk about themselves and get to know the other people around them. And then, of course, you have to ensure that the manager one-on-one happens properly to set expectations. During that day one, ideally, the manager is identifying one quick win that the person can do for the week. All right, now let's move into week one. The person must have an onboarding buddy. They actually did a study on this in Microsoft, and there's a Harvard Business Review article on it written by some of the people I worked with. What they found was 56% of new hires who met with their onboarding buddy at least once within the first 90 days, they indicated that they had a successful onboarding and they are productive. Now, the people who met 2 to 3 times, 73% of them said that they are more productive. 86% more productive for those who met 4 to 8 times, and 97% more productive for those who met their onboarding buddies more than 8 times in the span of 90 days. So their study, the main conclusion was having an onboarding buddy is one of the most essential things that you can do for a new hire to be productive and successful in their role. Make sure that within week one, your new hire has an onboarding buddy. Next up, individualized onboarding plan. Dapat meron silang document, nakasulat, nakatype. It has to be a documented thing where the new hire can look at the different steps of their onboarding and what they need to do. During that first week, your core and common resources should be easily accessible. Think about if your company has like an intranet, your dedicated internet, or if you have SharePoint files, Teams channels, Google Drives, whatever that may be. Always have like a folder or a website where all of the core and common resources are there. tips on identifying a good onboarding buddy. Please ask me later at the end, all right, if I forget. I want to answer that, but let's do it at the end, okay? And then next up, for the week 1, you have to elevate quick win for the week. We said that day 1, the new hire should know what is their quick win, realistic thing that they can do within 1 week. And so during the end of that week, you have to be able to talk about it with the manager and really celebrate that quick win to give them more motivation para bumalik sila the next week. And then, of course, this is when you want to start making arrangements for the technical onboarding. Technical onboarding, you have to know what are the professional skills that the person will need, especially if they need to get trained. All right, so next up, I'll flash the summary later at the end, if that's all right, so we can continue going smoothly. All right, the next up, month 1, what you need is to dedicate that time to technical onboarding. Now, you really want that person to grow in that role, whether that's as an engineer or HR or IT or marketing or whatever. Let them know what exactly do they need to perform. Give them the training they need if it's specialized, if there are certain tools, certain systems that they have to utilize. So use month 1 for that. Also, use month 1 to meet one-on-one with team members and different colleagues from projects. Something that a tip I was given when I was new is to schedule lunches or coffee dates with everyone in the team. It doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes or 1 hour. Try to do it within 1 month so you can get to know everyone. And then, of course, continuous manager check-in is important during that first month. Continuous manager check-in is also important in 3 to 6 months. And then in the 6th month or 3 to 6 month time period, this is also where HR check-in should ideally be done. This can be done through maybe one-on-ones with the HR person, or if you have a lot of new hires in that same time frame, consider having like an event or a quick activity where you can re-emphasize some of the organizational culture aspects. And it's also a way for the new hires to build community with each other. And then 1 year, celebrate the new hires graduation. Being a new hire is a moment that matters. So when people are done with that 1 year, you kind of want to give them a ritual so they feel like they're moving up. Parang graduation, diba? Moving up day. They feel like they've done something important and challenging, and now they are ready to take on even more challenges. That's why it's good to mark that graduation. And then, of course, once the person is at the 1 year mark, the manager and the new hire will have to identify development opportunities so they don't grow stale and they keep on developing. What is all this about? This is about the organization aligning on the core and common experience for new hires. Again, these are suggestions for the things that have to be true for all new hires so that it becomes a part of your brand as an employer. And that is it for A, agree on what is core and common. Now let's go to N, necessitate manager and team involvement. Necessitate is such a funny word, but why do I use that? It's because manager involvement is so necessary. When managers take an active role in onboarding, employees are 3.4 times more likely to strongly agree that their onboarding was exceptional. A manager can make or break that new hire's experience. And so what you want to do is to provide resources for managers even before their new hire begins. Right now, I'm going to ask all of you to take a screenshot, or copying it might take a lot of time, so just take a screenshot. These are key questions that you can send to managers so that they can think about these and start brainstorming even before their new hire arrives, okay? So again, try to screenshot it. please, because this will be helpful. And then give me a reaction, any button, once you're done with your screenshot, so I know we can move along. Perfect. All right, great job, everyone. Thank you. If you have not been able to screenshot, don't worry, we'll have a recording that we will post later on. All right. So again, even before the new hire comes in, the manager has to think about it, and to help them think about it, this is what you can send to them. Now, what are the things a manager must do? I'll go through these fast because these are just like simple steps that are kind of like a checklist. So the manager has to reach out with a simple message even before the new hire starts. When I was, before I started my day one, I got a message from my manager and they talked about their likes and dislikes. So even before I came in, I already knew the commonalities I had with my manager. Next up, prepare the workspace, equipment, inform the team about the start date. If possible, make arrangements for lunch, identify an onboarding buddy, and make sure to brief that onboarding buddy. Create an onboarding document with a basic plan that the manager and the new hire can discuss together, and schedule time to meet the new hire on day one. The ideal scenario is that it's already on the calendar, so the manager will not miss it, and there's no excuse to not do that meeting. All right? So just very quick things that a manager can do. Now, this is also something that you can screenshot because it's kind of like a checklist that can help you moving forward. Okay? So then, what do you want to talk about from a manager and a new hire perspective during that day one-on-one? That's a tongue twister, okay? So I'll say it again. During the first day, you want to have a one-on-one with the manager and the new hire. So what can they talk about? Again, this is just a list of bullet points, so I'll go through it. They have to talk about work schedules and important meetings that the new hire needs to attend. Work styles and preferences. What times does the manager like working? Do they like coming in early, staying late? Are they more of, give me the instructions first and then I will run with it? Or let me brainstorm first and then give me instructions. Like, what are those work styles so you can understand each other better? Next up, provide a clear explanation of the first assignment for the week. Usually, with the new hire in the beginning, it's more directive. So you might need to do more explaining than necessary. And that's very much understandable because, again, a new hire has so many things going on in their head. Next up, you have to help the new hire prioritize between organizational and technical onboarding activities. Help them make sense of what to do with the time that they have. Help the new hire to understand social onboarding aspects. Instead of just showing them the org chart, really try to explain who's doing what and why is the org chart the way it is. That gives the new hire more context rather than just seeing the chart. Paint a picture of what success looks like for 1 week, 30 days, and 60 days. My favorite question that I advise new hires to ask is, what will success look like in terms of my role for the different time periods? That gives you a clue as to what you need to be doing. You also have to talk about opportunities for future advancement. It doesn't have to be promising them that they'll be managers or CEOs or leaders in the future. Just talk about the opportunities for development to excite that person. Para makita nila na may future pala dito, na maganda pala yung future dito. And then, of course, the manager and the new hire will need to set up recurring check-ins. The ideal scenario is to put those on calendar so that they don't forget. There are actually studies that will show that ideally, manager and new hire check-ins have to occur at least once a week or if not, twice a month. That means every other week, right? So it doesn't have to be a 1 hour check-in. It can be short, but the most important thing is they are connecting regularly. This whole part is about HR and the onboarding team supporting the managers. Again, the manager is essential and necessary for a positive onboarding experience. So the HR and the onboarding core team will have to take that into account and help the managers as well. And with that, that is the end part of our framework. We are moving into the last part, which is D, drive continuous development and engagement. Quick question for all of you. So another fun one. Okay, what considerations do you think about to decide if you'll stay in a relationship? It doesn't have to be romantic, huh? It can be any kind of relationship, friendship, work, etc. What are the considerations that you think about? Growth, trust, respect, financial, good, realistic. Okay, connection, growth, trust, loyalty, openness to criticism. Perfect, everyone, because that's exactly what you need to apply in this next part of the framework. Now that you know the essentials, we have to think about continuous development. How do we continuously involve our new hires? First, like what you all said, you have to be able to show openness. Get their feedback. Ask them, what do you like? What do you not like? How do we improve our onboarding? Next up, you have to give them growth, just like what you all said. A great relationship keeps on growing. And so you want to provide your new hires with continuous learning and development opportunities. Maybe think about having them become onboarding buddies. Now that you trust them more, let that trust grow further by entrusting them with a new hire of their own that they will guide. Another thing you can do is to have new hires tell stories about company culture. Now that they've experienced it, they have their own stories of how the values come to life. Collect those stories. Ask them how they've made it real so you can highlight that as well. And then, of course, one of my most favorite things is to also get new hires to be volunteers for future onboarding activities and events. When you're a new hire, having someone relatable who may be onboarded a year ago or a few months ago, and now you see them so active in the company, that makes you feel like you're in the right place, right? Like if someone is this active so early on in the onboarding process, maybe it's a good place to be. And so that's a great signal if you get volunteers who will help you with future onboarding activities and events. The criteria you mentioned in the chat about how you know if you'll stay in a relationship, I think all of those apply with creating an onboarding experience that will encourage people to stay long-term. And with that, everyone, that's it. That's the end of our framework. Let's review it all together. We started by saying that to design an effective onboarding experience, we have to lay the groundwork. We have to have prerequisites in place like leadership, support, and core team. Next up, we have to agree on what is core and common. What is your employer brand in terms of onboarding experience? What are the elements that everyone, regardless of role, level, field, department, will experience when it comes to onboarding? Next up, N, necessitate manager and team involvement. Managers are so essential in creating a positive onboarding experience. And last is D, drive continuous development and engagement, because to build a relationship that will go for long term, it has to have continuous growth and continuous trust. Now, everyone, what word are we forming with the first letter of the different parts of our framework? Do you have fast fingers? There you go. It's land. So think about it, right? When we say on board, the visual a lot of people have is getting into the airplane and boarding your plane. But our job in onboarding is not to keep our new hires on the plane. Eventually, you want them to land, right? You want them to be able to land so they can contribute to the organization and start their adventure so they can feel stable enough, empowered enough to be themselves in that company. And so our role as HR professionals and managers is to guide our new hires to land so they can make an impact on the organization. We're there so that that landing can be smooth, supported, and empowering for our new hires. And with that, everyone, let me know, what insight or learning will you take away from today's session? Go ahead, type it in the chat. One word, one phrase. What is that one thing that you will make sure to remember from today? Let's see. I love how people said land. 12 months full potential. Yes, very good. That's a good mindset shift when it comes to onboarding. Rearranging onboarding processes. Oh, I love that you have some insight on that. Green flags and red flags. Yes, exactly. Red flag ko din pag late. Kaya pag onboarding event, I love it when things always start on time. When I was in Microsoft, it was always 7 o'clock on the dot. The onboarding welcome video will play. And I love that moment. Gives me chills, even if I think about it just now. All right. Perfect. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing the lessons that you learned there. What's next? So please connect with us on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. We'd love to learn more and get updated with you, to connect with you. For certificates, now I know a lot of you may be waiting for these instructions. So please go to tinyurl.com/eval-onboard. That's where you can see the survey form where you can request your certificates. So the link, I'm going to post it again in the chat to make it easier. Hold on. All right. So if you all notice I'm alone doing this free webinar, that's because my interns, my content creators are actually graduating this week. So it's a vacation week for them to celebrate their graduation. So please be patient with me as I'm alone doing all of this. Okay, so quick reminder, the form will be open for 2 hours only, and then certificates will be given within 1 week. Not today, okay? And please stay tuned for our next webinar or book a call with us to learn more about how we can partner with your organization. So everyone, yes, my Q&A. What we usually do is we finish right on time because I know that for some of you, you'd want to leave, you have things that you need to do. But if you have questions, that's where we will stay and I can take questions for as long as you have them, all right? So please, everyone, thank you so much. Again, I loved learning with you. Thank you for keeping the chat very, very active. We are posting the recording on Facebook Live, so you can get it from there. I will also share some of the articles that I used for research and the link to the book as well. All right, so if you need to go, thank you so much. It was nice having you here. I love doing these free webinars. Hopefully we'll keep on having them monthly now that we're back. If you need to go, thank you so much. But if you have questions, please stay and then let's do Q&A. I had a question that we skipped over earlier. Could you remind me? There we go. Emiko, perfect. There we go. Okay, thank you so much, Emiko, for reminding me. Let's take that question. All right, so the question is, how do you measure value consumed to the value contributed? Maybe let's go back to that slide, actually. Hold on. That might be easier. Okay. So the thing about this is it actually is very dependent on the role. as you can imagine, with some roles, it is easier to measure than others. For example, if the role is in sales, usually you know like what's the quota or how much sales a person has to do. And so it's easier to compare value consumed versus value created. But just to think about it in general, value consumed could be, think about how much it costs for one person to do a 1-day orientation. How much does it cost for a person to do, let's say, a technical training on a system that's specific to your company? How much does it cost for a manager, a 1 day of a manager to dedicate to a new hire? These are examples of value consumed that you could measure in terms of like price or quantity. And then value created is now, what is the contribution of that role? So think about if this person is assigned project X, how much or what revenue, what benefits will the company get from project X? So that's a good way for you to be able to measure the value created. And then you compare, right? So then you're able to see how much was the value consumed during those months when they're still getting their feet wet, trying to feel their way in the company, versus how much was the value created when they were starting to have some quick wins and some successes in their different projects. All right. So, Emiko, hopefully that helps. Yes, so when there are numbers, it's easier. But for the roles that do not have numbers, it's not impossible because projects will always have budgets, and those budgets will have money or amounts tied to them. So you could use that. If not money values, you could also think about time spent, right? Like how much time is it spent doing like one thing versus another. All right. There was another question that I missed earlier. Please, could you remind me? The onboarding buddies. Okay, let's take the onboarding buddy question. So the question was, what are some criteria, right, for a good onboarding buddy? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I remember. So criteria for a good onboarding buddy. Number 1, ideally, that person is in the same team, reporting to the same manager. Why? Because that person will be able to have more context and more insight that they can share with the new hire. Number 2, ideally, that person is able to provide time to actually talk to the new hire. So really choose someone who is willing to spend time and energy with your new hire. So those are just the 2 basic, I think, requirements that will help you choose an onboarding buddy. I know some people say that you should also choose an onboarding buddy with approximately like a relatable experience with the new hire, but I think that's not something you can always account for, right? So maybe that's just a little bit of an extra thing that you can think about. Okay, please, what other questions do you all have? I saw a question very early on about what mic I use. So just random, it's a USB-C mic, Samsung CO1U Pro. That's it. Okay. Share a sample template of an onboarding checklist. The one that I showed you from the manager's perspective, that would be a good example. I will have to look into my files to see if there's one that I am allowed to share with you. So let me check on that. But later on, when we share some articles about some of the articles we used for research, you could also look at those articles, especially Harvard Business Review, because they will have more checklists and templates. Okay, thank you for that. Next up, is it a red flag or a green flag if the manager lets you do things independently by giving you new accounts to handle and provides you with minimal guidance only, even if you do not have a year of experience in the company yet? So I don't want to label it a red flag or a green flag because, of course, I don't know the specific situation. But maybe what would I advise that person, right? If I were talking to them. So maybe number one, have a sit down with the manager and ask them, right? Like, could you clarify to me what success looks like in this new account that you're giving to me? Another thing you have to talk about with that manager is what's your comfort level? And if you feel like you need more support, maybe express that to the manager. Because what if the manager is trying to give you autonomy, they don't want to micromanage you, but for you, you need more support. So then you just have to communicate that with your manager. A lot of the situations a new hire faces is really about communication. So the more open you can be with your manager about what you need and how they can help you, the better. Now, I know a lot of new hires worry about that because I understand you don't want to seem like you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't want to tell your manager that you've given up and you need their help. There's a way to say these things in a professionally mature way so that they don't think you don't know what you're doing. One thing I do is I'll write out, okay, if this is the project, what are the things I know about the project? One column about that. And then in the next column, I'll say, what are the things I don't know yet? Yeah. And then in the next column, I'll talk about what are my suggested or recommended action steps for myself. Following, okay? So again, what do I know? What don't I know yet? And what are my suggested action steps for myself? Once I have that, that's when I'll go to my manager and I'll say, hey, like, I know you gave me this new account or this new project. I want to think about it further and I prepared this document. I was hoping I can go through it with you. So then you show them, manager, these are the things I already know that I found out about the project. These are some of the things I don't know yet. And these are the next steps that I think I can do. Is there anything I'm missing? What other actions do you think should I do? Yeah. So then you're asking for help, but you're showing them that you've done the work to figure it out for yourself as much as you can. It also shows them that you're autonomous, but that you're willing to ask for support and that you want them to support you. All right. Okay, so thank you so much. I see some comments as a reply to that. So give me a minute to read through this. Hold on. Yeah, so different perspectives, right? Green flags, red flags are very subjective. So again, maybe if you feel like it's a red flag for you, now the next step is how will you approach that conversation with your manager? And hopefully the suggestion I have earlier can help you to approach that in a professionally mature way, but still you're getting the support that you need. Okay. Michael, what are the success measures of effective onboarding programs? What we do is we have a survey that we send to new hires, and it's really just asking, number one, do they feel like they're connected with the company? Organizational onboarding, right? Do you understand who the company is, what the company values, where the company wants to go? Think about technical onboarding. Do you feel like you have the resources you need to do your job? Do you feel productive in your job? Have you had some quick wins since you started? Number 3, think about social onboarding. Do you feel like you have a friend at work? Have you connected with your team? Do you have a sense of belonging in the environment you're in? If you look at those key dimensions of onboarding, you can extract from that some measures that you can ask in your surveys so you can look at success. All right. So new hires have different start dates, but the next question from Rina, new hires have different start dates, but the new staff orientation we give them is another date. So it's possible that their orientation won't happen on their first day. Is that okay? What can you advise? Yeah, so Rina, good question. I think realistically, not all companies will have the resources to do new employee orientation every single week, right? So I think that's okay. But my recommendation is to still give the new hire some sort of message so that they feel like they are welcomed and supported on their first day. I'll give you an example. Maybe they don't have their orientation on day one, but they get a packet or a welcome kit with some brochures, a welcome video, a welcome message, or whatnot. So just some way for them to know that the company knows they're new and they're coming that day. So I think that that will be okay, even if it's not orientation on day one. Okay. Next up, Bernadette says, in the onboarding checklist, is it necessary to be 6 months to 1 year plan or 90 days mark will do? Bernadette, it depends on your organization. So once you have your onboarding core team, you have to decide what's realistic for your company. Like what we said, right? 1 year is kind of a best practice, but if it's not realistic for your company, then it's okay. Do what you can first and you'll develop into that. So if 90 days is what makes sense for you and what your company can support, then do that. The most important thing is you all agree that that's the time frame that you will use. Okay. Caroline says, what happens during the graduation day of new hires? Any tips? I love that. One of the things I've done in the past is open invite. It's not required. Anyone who wants to join, if you're from a certain cohort of new hires. So it's just a happy hour where we try to have different questions around what are your celebrate, what are the highlights you want to celebrate? So successes, but also it's about what are the most embarrassing moments that you have as a new hire, like the time that maybe you made a mistake in a meeting or mispronounced a word, or there's actually a new hire I know who bumped into the CEO on the way to the restroom, and then they just they didn't say anything. They just looked at the CEO and then left. So that was such a funny story that the new hires bonded over. So think of simple things like that. Mostly it's about telling stories, sharing experiences, and forming those connections so they feel like they can see how they've changed from day one up to year one. Okay. Cinderella says, what if you have quality onboarding process, yet still the employee did not stay? What would be your opinion on this matter? Yeah, okay. So the reality is the average number of years that an employee stays in a company nowadays is 2 to 3 years. That's a statistic from LinkedIn, I believe. So really, we also have to take that into account, that the way the workforce thinks nowadays is not as long-term, hire to retire as it was before in the maybe a lot of years ago. So you have to balance that out, right? Maybe number one, I would think, how can you make sure that you have quality onboarding process? Is there data that you're tracking and measuring so you can be confident in that? Once you're confident in that and people are still not staying, now think of it from a retention / employee engagement perspective. Look at exit interviews. What are they saying? What are they looking for in the companies where they are transferring into? Maybe that will give you a clue, because sometimes it's not just the onboarding that doesn't make sense, right? In organizations, I love it because it's so complex. It's never just one thing. So you also have to try to see what are the different things happening in the organization that could be affecting those employees and their decision to leave. All right. Can you share the sequence of your company orientation? I'm not sure if this is about like my company or the past experiences, but my suggestion, Jazz, is later on you can go back to the recording, the one we have on Facebook Live, and then look back to the slides that puts the time frames, the before onboarding, day one, so on and so forth. that might be a good way for you to get the sequence. Okay, then some suggestions there in the chat. Please read the comments from your colleagues here. I think that's such a great way to learn from each other. Okay, then a question from Jenny. Is it fine?
Kasi baba nga daw yung...
Just mute that, everyone. Okay, so question from Jenny. Is it fine that in every month or at least 3 times we create a survey for our newly hired on what is their insight into work, management, coworkers, and others? I think data gathering is great. Something to think about, Jenny, is survey fatigue. So you also don't want to make them so tired of surveys. Now, how do we balance that out? What we usually do is there's a long survey in the beginning of onboarding and at the end of onboarding. If you want to do surveys that are like more regular, so maybe like every month or at least like once a quarter, what you want to do is just do it like in a shorter version. Maybe 5 questions that they can easily click on, one open-ended question, they can easily type a word or a phrase or a sentence. Then that way you're avoiding the survey fatigue that people could feel. Yeah, so that's a good question. Again, in general, very good to get data, but also think about ways that you can get data so people don't get so fatigued about the surveys. Okay, Sabrina, do you provide onboarding and offboarding consultancy? Yes, I do. Maybe if you're interested, we can talk about that. And then next question. Okay, can I, Amiko, I'll read your question. Can I ask, how do you do your forms, especially for remote new hires? What if they can't sign in an Adobe PDF? What are the other alternatives aside from printing out the forms and signing and scanning or photographing them and sending via email? I know that sounds too tiring because it really is please up. Yeah, that's such a valid question, right? Because realistically, not everyone will have the technical know-how to do it. So like what Anna suggested for you, it might be good to try to invest in like DocuSign or PDF24. Something that you could also do is try to ask, is it because they don't have the tool or they don't know how to use the tools, right? Because the solution to that will be a bit different. If they don't have the tool, then it's a matter of maybe helping them look at the alternatives. If they don't know how to use the tool or the alternatives, then maybe you can create like little instructions, like short videos to let them know this is how you can do the printing the form, or this is how you can sign using Adobe. So maybe that's something you could think about, right? Not knowing the tool or not knowing what to do will have different solutions and interventions to that. Sometimes they use mobile for orientation. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? We have to balance it out with wanting people to follow your expectations and also the reality of where they're in. So I would usually say it's a case-to-case basis. What I try my best to do is I give people instructions way beforehand that like laptops will be ideal. You have to be able to sit down and open documents. And then if they are on mobile, I tell them to tell me beforehand so that I know what to expect. I also, if they are on mobile, I tell them that it could take more time for them to finish up their orientation requirements. And I do that because I don't want them to think that, or I don't want them to get impatient when in reality, the length of time is because of the special circumstance they're in. So it's also expectation setting. Emiko, I'm also putting a link in the chat. This is what I use sometimes, PDF Escape, because it's free. So that might help as well. I use that to create forms also, because you could upload the PDF file, and then you could put boxes where people can type the info that they need to share with you. Yeah, but good question. I think very realistic things that people face as HR, right? All right. Any other questions, everyone? I don't know if I've missed anything. I think I've been able to address most of it. Okay. Last call. Any other questions I haven't answered? Oh, the deck, I will not be giving a copy of the deck, but it's all in the recording. So that helps. And then I'm also going to give links to resources like articles that we used for research. Yeah, so we don't give a copy of the deck just because it's already in the recording, and it's a way also for us to secure din naman our models and our frameworks. But thank you so much for asking, and I'm glad you think that the deck has information that you will want to use for the future. All right, everyone. No more questions. I think that's it. Right on time for lunch. So it's 11:50. I think we can all go prepare for lunch. Thank you so much for learning with me. Thank you for being so active, and I'll see you next month. Bye, everyone. Bye.